Hi and welcome back to the course. In this video, we're going to look at test-first design for REST APIs. Test-first design is not only a technical thing. It's going to help design our APIs better, and it's going to make software development more efficient. But it's not only a technical thing, it's also a matter of designing and creating the right thing. So what do I mean with this? Well, let's first begin by going to our collection and creating a new folder for section 4. And in this folder, we're going to put the requests that this API is going to expect. Now, the thing about thinking about what requests your API needs is that it forces you to identify what need there is for each of these requests. Now, for some of you, that might sound obvious or silly, but a lot of people just start making endpoints before even realizing whether they're necessary or not. So let's imagine that we have a simple API that deals with storing items in a store. So we've looked at this in the last section. We're going to make this a bit more professional in this section to help introduce the new library as well. So imagine we've got an API that deals with items. What sort of operations might we need? Well, we might need to get all of the items that are available. So I would say something like get http://107.0.1:5000 items. I might say that. So save that. I'm going to save it as /items. And then write a short description for what this will return. This should return a list of item dictionaries, or items, each in JSON format. Okay, we can write maybe something like that. You can be more specific in your description if you have a better idea as to what you'd like this to return, and then save it to the correct place, which in this case is here. Okay. So we're going to want to request a list of the items that we've got. We might also want to request a specific item. So I'm going to duplicate this thing here and then request a specific item. Now, there are a few options for accessing a specific item. We may want to access it by name, such as chair or piano or GXL 3000, which is my microphone. Anything else. We might also want to access them by ID, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So here might be a good point in time to decide whether your items are going to have unique names or not. If your items are going to have unique names, accessing them by name might make sense. If they may have duplicate names, then you cannot possibly access one specific item by name because there may be 2 items with the same name. In this case, I'm going to type name here inside Crocodile Clips just to remind me that I'm going to be accessing my items by name and that I'm meant to replace the item's name for this thing here. So I'm going to save that, then go ahead and edit it and make sure to change the name. Name. And the description as well. This will return one specific item uniquely identified by its name. No 2 items may have the same name. Okay. So as you can see, now we're making decisions as to how our API is going to be designed. Now we've realized that each item is going to have a unique name. Okay, so what about creating items? We're probably going to need to do that. So I'm going to duplicate this and change this to a post. And now think about whether we want to keep this format. Every item is going to have a unique name. So therefore, whenever we make a request like this one, we're going to essentially be creating a new item. It makes sense to have the item at the top because, well, you could have it in the body as well instead if you prefer, but having it at the top also makes sense. After all, we are sending data that is related to one specific item's name, and then the body is going to contain information also required to create that item. So in the headers, I'm going to add content type, and it's going to be application/JSON. Save that. And in the body, we're going to go to raw, make sure that JSON is selected. And in here, we're going to select what sort of information our API is going to receive, essentially, when a request is made. So what data we want to store for an item. And we might store a price, for example. And I'm going to save that to $15.99. So make sure to save, and then go ahead and edit it. And that's it. Now it's a post, so even though it has the same name, it's a different type, and that's what distinguishes them. Okay, what else? Well, we may need to be able to delete a specific item. So once again, I'm going to duplicate this thing here, and I'm going to remove the body because it's no longer going to have a content type. In order to delete an item, we only need a unique reference to the item, which is the name. So the only thing we have to do is send in a delete request for this specific item, and we don't need any headers or any body. Okay, press save and make sure to edit that to remove the copy. Oh, and also remember to edit the descriptions, which I forgot to do. Delete an item uniquely identified by name. I'll go back and change the description. Oh, I pressed the wrong one. Change the description here. This will create a new item. If the item already exists, it will fail. Okay, I think that makes sense for what we're doing here in the post. However, there is one last thing that we may need, and that is the ability to modify an existing item. There is a HTTP method for that, as we have seen, and that is put. So post is used to send data to the server and sort of that's you with the data, there you go, give me some new stuff. Put is used to give data to the server and then do one of two things, either create a new item or update an existing item that already exists with that unique identifier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the post, change it to put, and what's going to happen now is that the content type is going to stay the same, the body is going to change slightly to say $17.99, and when we send this request to our API, it's going to create a new item with that name and this price, or if that item already exists, is going to update that item with a new price. And if we call this 10 times, it would succeed every time, but only the first one would make a difference, the others would just sort of re-update the item with the same price every time. That's why put is set to be an idempotent request, because even if the thing that you are doing with this request has already happened, you can still do the request again and it won't fail. Okay, make sure to save that and then go ahead and edit it, remove the copy, and say this will create a new item, and we're going to change that to this will create or a new item or update an existing item. And we're not going to fail if it already exists. Okay, so now we have a better idea as to what we want to do. For example, we didn't create post/items because that's really not necessary now that we know that we can create single items using this post here. Similarly, we don't have delete for items. We're not really going to want to delete all of our items in a database. Maybe we do want to do that at some point in the future. So we've got a slightly better idea as to what our API is going to do. Now, throughout the section, I'm going to be adding another endpoint in here, but I'm not going to do that just now so as to not confuse you. That endpoint is going to be related to authentication. But we're going to add that later on. For now, these 5 endpoints are all we need, and as you can see, 4 of them have the exact same format. They are get, post, delete, and put, and that's going to be one of our resources. Oh, and apologies, I have to edit these and make sure to call them /item/name. That's my bad, I just realized that. like that. So 4 of them have /item/name, and one of them is /items. So here we've got 2 REST resources, an item in these 4 requests, and an item list, which returns a list of items in this other request here. Notice that there are 2 resources here, the item list and the item, and they are entirely separate, really. The item is only concerned with one entity, and the items list is concerned with sort of giving you all of the data that is there. So when we go to our Python application in the very next video, we're going to be making sure that we replicate this structure by creating 2 resources. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.